Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kyle. If you're first time here, and we do look at facts at crypto projects, and today we're just going to look at some of these economic data, some of this economic data coming out yesterday. So, I guess on the macro side, I think it's important to understand that I mentioned this a couple times before, but the Fed basically has two mandates, right? So they have employment, max employment, and then they also have a 2% inflation target. Or it's kind of been moving. Been a moving. Uh, they kind of moved a little bit, right? Where they're like, oh, we'll take a little bit higher inflation, to kind of catch up to the not all the non-inflationary time that we had previously. But anyway, those are two mandates. That's what they're trying to hit. Let me show my screen. So the point of saying that is when we're looking at rate cuts, which the market wants, and the market will respond positively to, at least initially, is we're looking for bad job data. And yesterday, JOLTS, which is basically just job openings. Those, hold on one second. Those, trying to share my screen. Those came in under expectations, and it did benefit the market for a little bit. You saw a quick increase in jobs data, in the S&P and some of the other risk assets. But those are just job openings, so it does show deterioration of the economy, and in the U.S. and obviously the risk assets like that. Now today we've got ADP non-farm employment change. So this is a measure by it's not a governmental agency, right? It's a company, ADP. So it's kind of an independent measure of employment. It looks like they actually revised down last month's too. So yeah, they revised down last month's to 188 from 192. So you can see jobs are weakening. Layoffs are probably happening behind the scenes, right? Even though a lot of that jobless data isn't showing up in some of the governmental, although we did see increase in unemployment by 0.1%. I think it was last month. So showing up a little bit, and that's good for the markets for now, because the rest of the economy looks strong enough that it's not affected earnings. Earnings look good. So if risk assets, like if investors are looking at easing conditions coming up, that puts more liquidity into the system and gets investors excited, right? So let's look at my show notes here. Go into some more economic data in a second. I want to be able to see your guys' comments though too. So what do we got here? Yeah, anyway, that should be good news for risk assets. Actually, let's look at pre-market. So SPY is up almost, 40 basis points. Q's up 70. IWM, they really took, this is the small caps, really took a hit yesterday. And you can see on the stochastic RSI, it actually crossed back over, which is not good. This is on the weekly, but that candle isn't closed. So that crossover could be prevented if we get a rally here in the rest of the week, through the rest of the week. But I like looking at all markets to understand, kind of what the entire market health is looking at. And hey, what's up, Lord Byron? Lord Byron, I love it. I would love to take a look at some of those projects you put in there, but a little later. I think right now we're just going to go through the macro stuff. But if you stick around, I'll get to those, and I'll do some just soft reviews, some quick reviews of projects. But two of the things that I'm seeing right now in the weekly, the SPY has been actually stronger than the Qs and IWM, but it does appear like it is risking a crossover here, and that would be concerning. But you do have nice long wicks to the downside here, so hopefully hopefully it can prevent having this crossover. And if it does, I think the economy is still, I think stocks are still bullish. If it doesn't, I would just start to be cautious. I wouldn't get out of anything, but I would be cautious. I'll probably close some of my options positions. I do have some long dated options for the S&P 500 and the Qs. And then the Qs are looking strong, and that's something that I expected to see, which is the NASDAQ, right? That's something I expected to see, as we roll into the later stages of this bull run, because usually you have lower. Thanks, John. John, yes, these are important in the crypto market because it's they're risk assets, right? So following what the bigger market is doing, kind of tell us what to expect in the crypto market. So I really like to follow both of them, and because the general stock market, because it tends to lead crypto into the bull runs, I think it's really important to keep tabs on what the general market is doing, so you can kind of tell where we're at, right? Like I expect the S&P and the NASDAQ to top, slightly before Bitcoin, maybe a week, and I also expect altcoins to top after Bitcoin. It's been 3 to 4 weeks in the past, so I think it's really important to keep tabs in the general market too. And but yeah, same thing here with the Qs. They're looking stronger because there's a lot of smaller caps in the Qs, and I expect smaller caps to do well into the later stages of the bull run. So, like I said, the crossovers will concern me on the bigger ones, but we've seen some really good strength in Bitcoin lately. That's been good. We got the potential crossover on Bitcoin, but it popped back up, and this is the weekly too. So, as long as it stays above this yellow or orange line down here, the blue line stays above the orange line, I'm feeling good about where we're headed, for the rest of the bull run. And I think if you watch Crypto Crew Guy, he talks about the breakout here at 73.8. That's important too. But these are longer timelines, right? So it's important not to make any rash decisions on them. Ethereum's looking really strong, which I think is telling me that we're possibly headed into the alt run. Altcoin season, obviously taking longer than we all would like, but it's looking good. And then one of the things to look at is, so first the dollar. So the dollar has a big impact on what risk assets do. Is the dollar? We expect the dollar to start to decline, weaken, and as it does, we'll see risk assets do better, especially crypto. It's not a one correlation, right? It's probably like, I forget what it was, 0.8 or something, if you're familiar with stock correlations. But there's definitely a correlation between how strong the dollar is and what Bitcoin is doing. And it's not the main driver, right? But like if the dollar is declining, there's more liquidity in the system. So Bitcoin's going to do better. Crypto's going to do better. The one thing to watch, maybe we can look at this later, but there is, if you look at like the Fed's actions and the Fed's cutting rates, they actually respond later than the market because they've got meetings every couple of months. Their timeline's spaced out, right? So what you'll see the market start to predict when the Fed's going to cut rates. And this is the price of the 2-year U.S. Treasury bond, and the price is inversely correlated with the rate, right? So this going up, this green bar means that the 2-year rate is going down in the market. The yield's going down. So you see this into recessions and stock market crashes. So it's a good one to keep an eye on. And it's going to tell you kind of what the Fed's going to do. So it actually predicts what the Fed does, which is wild. I think there's been like one case in the last 6 to 8 recessions that I've looked at where the Fed cut before the rates. The market started pricing in rate cuts, but usually the market prices it first. So good thing to keep an eye on. And just one other note that one of my strategies is like I'm probably gonna, when I do start rotating on a crypto, taking some profits, I'm gonna move those. I'm gonna move that money into bonds because they do well during market crashes. So I anticipate a market crash coming up. Don't know when it's going to be, but I keep an eye on indicators to kind of tell me, where we're at in the business cycle. So that's my macro note, and I do think that's important. So we went through that. Do some chart reviews. Yeah, let's do some chart reviews. That's macro. We did a couple of them. Did bonds, QQQ dollars. Okay. And then real quick, this one's going to be a little testy. So I know some of you have been gotten into OGPU, and I think OGPU is a great project, but there is this like unspoken rule that you don't give fudders a platform. But I'm just a fully transparent guy, and so I'm going to show you guys why I think the price has been declining recently in OGPU. There's this guy posting like, "Oh, OGPU is a scam," and look, like, to be honest, I can't prove one way or another that it's not. But my intuition tells me that it's not a scam. Of course, like I could be wrong. I'm not pretending to know all. The co-founder has doxed himself to me. I've seen his LinkedIn profile and watched some videos he's put out back in the day. Seems like a very knowledgeable and trustworthy guy in crypto. But this guy on Twitter has been posting that OGP is a scam. He's got a whole list of things. So let's go through them. Let's see. So the one thing about the first thing he says is that the UX is stolen, and I think he said somewhere that like why would blue chip projects wouldn't steal UX, and I mean in my opinion, like I did a little bit of coding, maybe I'm just lazy. I've never been good with colors, but I have nothing against somebody stealing a color template from somebody to put up their block explorer. And I think the guys in the Telegram did say that they took the block explorer from an open source. So it's definitely a reasonable explanation. I mean, you can see here the metal block explorer. It's some sort of bank futures commodities trading platform. I think they've been around since 2022. And they do look pretty much the same, but if you're using open source code and you don't want to change the UI because that's the UX, right, the color palette, then that's understandable. So I don't think that's proof that it's a scam. Like that's pretty benign to me. Let's see, Jeet Slayer blocked him because he was calling OGPU a scam. It's fine. Jeet Slayer is he's an investor in OGPU. He's very active in the Telegram chat. I don't know if he's a mod yet or not. He wasn't initially. Let's see. And then he says he's going to expose OGPU. He said he's going to expose OGPU in 24 hours. And then he said he's going to do it in a week. So, there's a lot of accusations here. I don't see a lot of evidence that I just don't see evidence that would concern me at this point. Like he posted this screenshot, and earlier today I searched some of these wallets, but I'm not a on blockchain detective, so he could have something there, but I didn't see anything, and just this alone doesn't show me anything. I mean, these were the project was launched 55 days ago, but I didn't see anything with the contract address. Again, I could be missing something. So let's see, what else did he post here? He says he has more. Well, I'll be watching, see what he's got. But at this point, I'm not selling. I did, to be upfront, I did take out about 10% of my cost basis a couple days ago, way before this guy started posting. Started posting like 24 hours ago, a little more, on the 3rd. So we'll see. We'll see. These are risky projects we're getting into. But it would be a pretty elaborate scam if because OGPU has put out a whole bunch of stuff. They have put out the Block Explorer, the DevNet. They've done the ODEX. They just came out with RSC20 token standard. So that's a lot. It's a lot to do if you're just trying to scam someone. And they haven't paid for KOLs. You'd think if they were just trying to pump the price and take profits, they would pay for KOLs first. So anyway, I'm erring on the side of OGPU at this point, but my mind's always open to be changed. And the one other thing is, like, all this guy's posted about is OGPU. There's nothing else. So, until he brings some more credible evidence, then I'm not selling my OGPU. Price OGPU will probably respond to some of these accusations for a while, but I think long term I'm still bullish on the project. So we'll see what happens. One other, how big of a deal is OGPU audit? Yeah, no, I think the audit is a big deal. Obviously, you can't say like, oh, they did an audit, they're 100% legit. But like, also, why would you pay for an audit if you're just going to scam people? It seems like an expensive scam, especially because the price is so low. It's so low at this point. If you look at all the whale sales, they'd still make a profit, but like you're looking at like probably if even if say like 20% of those wallets were from the founders and they're just selling it off, you're still taking like a 5 to 10% hit on your profits to do an audit. So, and their audit came back, like the code is 90, which is pretty high. I mean, if you look through audits on other projects, they're in the 10th percentile. This is a really good this is a really good ranking for their code. So if you look at other projects, even in the in the same like DPIN space, like I don't want to misquote, but you look at like the Ospecs or OSEPs, whatever you call them, and Node AIs of the world. I don't remember them being having such a high code score. So yeah, I'm not having any from account with 22 followers. Yeah, I mean it. I'm personally open to looking at all evidence, but yeah, he doesn't have a lot of ground to stand on, right? So also like there's guys with hundreds of thousands of followers calling different projects scams too, and I think a lot of those guys put out some really good stuff, but even if you're like freaking Elon Musk and you make an accusation, like I'm going to look at the evidence myself, and you should do the same thing. Like you should look at the evidence yourself and say, like, I think that's something like I learned personally during the pandemic. It's like, hey, you can have a lot of reputable people telling you stuff, but at the end of the day, like you've got your own personal agency. Like you should make the decision on your own. Like don't take my word for it either. Like do your own research. I'll give you as much information as I can for what I know, but like also I don't know everything. So yeah. It's one thing, like, should I give him a platform? Some people say, maybe not, but I think the most powerful thing to do is like, hey, look at his evidence and see what he's got. And if he doesn't have, enough information to, if he gives enough information that like you can't debunk his claims, like debunk his claims, call him out. So anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, I think, and the audit I think is a big deal. I'm really looking forward to seeing the KYC from these guys. So that's in the process. They're doing the interviews now. So one other interesting thing that I wanted to get into. It's a little bit political, but I think it's important. So BlackRock and Citadel are looking at making a Texas stock exchange, and this might look like a small deal, but let's Texas stock exchange. But the reason this is happening is because it's because of the prosecution of Trump, actually, and let's look at their website. And the reason it's a big deal is because like if you're a business, like you don't want to be like uncertainty is the worst thing in business, right? Like you want the laws to be the laws. You want to know what to expect. When you go to court. That's why companies used to incorporate in Delaware. Yeah, I mean, like, I get it, Hugo, but it's an accusation. It's just an accusation, right? Like, and like if you're scared, like that's like a human emotion. That's fine. Like I understand that, but also like the best way to not be scared is to look at the evidence. So, yeah. So people used to incorporate in Delaware because they, they're friendly laws to businesses, but they also, that was the only thing they knew what was, for the most part, what was going to happen in court if someone brought a case against them. Right. And, if you start to kind of get nitpicky and start to go after people because you just don't like them, it doesn't bode well for business, right? Like people don't want to invest in companies that they might get sued, and you don't know. You have very low predictability of what the outcome's going to be in court because they might go after the founder. They don't like the business. They don't like the CEO, so they attack them and sue them. So yeah, the best. What's the saying? The best disinfectant is light, right? Shine light on an issue, and that's the best way to get over it. But anyway, I think it's good. Yeah, that's the other thing, Angus. That's a good point. So I was going to bring that up, and I forgot. If you search, like, this is a fun exercise. Search Twitter for like most crypto projects, and you're going to find all sorts of accusations. But like, what really matters is like, do you have enough evidence to back it up? And I think he also mentioned like on there, he mentioned receipts for bots. I mean, even if he shows receipts for bots, first of all, you have to tie it to OGPU, which is going to be difficult because they're not docs. But the second thing is, like, that's just marketing. That to me, especially in the early stages of the project. So, like, that wouldn't alone make me think, even if he perfectly tied that to OGPU, that wouldn't make me think that OGPU is a scam. And as OGPU like executes more, these claims will kind of fall out. So, but like I said, I could be completely wrong. I'm not pretending that I know, but I do think it's just fun at this point. So, yeah, let's look at so BlackRock and Citadel, right? Two massive investment firms. How big is Citadel? Citadel Securities. They're really big, but yeah, I want to look at their size. So, and what's curious to me is like if you look at BlackRock through like the pandemic, they did a whole huge like ESG push. If you look a little deeper, you can kind of see like how the chess pieces are being played, right? So it's $7 billion in profits to clients in 2023. Like that's huge. That's their profits. That $58 billion in capital. So yeah, massive. Yeah, so if you look at like BlackRock, they did a huge ESG push, through like the COVID times, and now they renounced their ESG requirements for investments. So there's a lot of businesses pushing back on ESG as environment, social, and governance, and a lot of it was making sure things were green and green investments and all this. So, but a lot of investment firms are pushing back. So I think that's a pretty big sign that um, a lot of these ESG requirements, I don't think they're gonna stick. And there's kind of been a revolt of the whole ESG movement from the top down on the business side. So this is a big deal. I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is. Like the New York Stock Exchange is kind of like it's the biggest stock exchange in the world. Like, right? It's massive. So for them to, for people to start moving to Texas, we'll see how much traction this gains, and we'll see if this scares New York. But the point is, you need a you need a court and you need law to be predictable for business. Otherwise, you're going to scare away investors. So I think this is a good move. I think it's a needed move. And I think like it gives companies, basically an option, to move to a different state. And that's kind of the beauty of the U.S. and the state system. I'm curious to see what the SEC does, because Gary Gensler has been pretty, he's been not a what would you call it, a partner of business in a lot of cases. So we'll see if this gets any pushback from the government, the SEC. Curious to see if that happens. I'm wondering where they're going to base it, though. Is it going to be like Dallas, or is it going to be Houston? Where are you guys watching from? Post in the chat. Where you guys at? Dallas. So big headquartered in Dallas. That makes sense. That makes sense. I wonder. Sounds pretty new, so I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any like a lot more additional information on it. All they've got is that PDF. Let's look at the PDF. They've raised 120 million in capital. Oh, I gotta save it. Let's go to desktop. All right, markets are open. Markets are open. London, Lord Byron's in London. Nice. How's the weather up there? You guys cloudy and rainy? All right. Texas is the clearest choice for establishment of a national securities exchange. It's home to more than 500 Fortune 500 companies. Yeah, there's a lot of business in Dallas. I've been to Dallas a couple times on business trips, so it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, they say right here, corporate issuers and exchange-traded product sponsors are demanding more stability, predictability around listing standards and associated costs. Texas intends to expand across U.S. capital markets. So that's the other thing. It could be cheaper too for companies to list in Texas, and that would be that'll probably be the main driver. Australia, North Jersey, the nice part. Not down south there. What is it, Camden? Is that the part right outside of Philly? That's kind of shady. All right, so we got that stuff out of the way. Let's look at the markets real quick, see what the markets are doing. Oh, wow, look at that. SPY is green on the weekly now. Cross is gone. Let's see about IWM. IWM's got a long way to go. Not looking good for IWM. Would not like to see a crossover. But, one thing that could happen is IWM could cross over, and then we could get it to cross back over, as long as, S&P and the Qs stay strong. Not Northeast by 287. I don't know where 287 is. I should. I am from Pennsylvania. All right, let's look at crypto projects. Enough of this stock market stuff. What do you guys got for me? What do you want me to look at? I'll take a soft look at some stuff. Lord, you put in Oper AI. All right, you said it looks like a scam. Show me why it looks like a scam. I can't even see it here. Is it on Dex Tools? Where is it at? Oper AI. Turn on dark mode. I usually like dark mode, but for some reason, I prefer light mode on CoinGecko. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, that Dex score is terrible. And what do these guys even do? I feel like I heard about these guys, but never looked into them. I probably saw something I didn't like. Is this the right one? I thought Oper AI was older. No, sorry, man. I don't know. Don't know 287. I didn't spend a lot of time up in New York City. I've only been in New York City like twice. Actually, maybe 5 times, but 3 of those were in the airport. Is this the right one? Where's the website? Oh, it doesn't even have a website. That's not the right one, is it? I'm not finding Oper. Unless that's it. And they don't even have a website, so. Let's see. Sync Hub. Let's look at Sync Hub. Launched 12 days ago. Blockchain tools without code. Yeah, man, I'm like, what does that mean? So what do they do? They've got audit. I mean, it seems like a cool product, but agents, AI Copilot, GPU lend and rent. So you're telling me you're solving all of these problems? I mean, it seems a little too ambitious. Like we know DeepIn takes a lot of work, and there's tons of competition out. Like if you're competing in DeepIn, I don't think maybe in the future, but right now you should not be competing for AI agents in the AI agent space as well, right? I think that's too much. That's my initial thought anyway. What else do they got? Are we looking at if this is a scam, Lord Byron, or are we just looking in general? What were you curious about in this thing? Innovate AI. I'll take a look at that next. I mean, it does have contract renounced. Pretty low score on that though. Let's see. Anti-will. Yes, which is good. It's not great price action. It's terrible price action. I mean, it looks they launched and then just sank. Yeah, let's see what their market cap is. Yeah, this thing's got no market cap. It looks like they just have a website. Like, how old is this thing? Is there any history on CoinGecko? Is that just a new pair? It looks like they're on base. Yeah, I would not I would not invest in this thing. Like, not a chance. Contract creator can make changes to the token, such as disabling sales, changing fees, minting. Yeah, not done. Nope. I think you're right. This is a scam. Let's go to Dex Tools. Actually, let's go back to CoinGecko. I like to try CoinGecko first. Copper Crypto, why do you say New York's going to beat up Bitcoin a bit? I want to hear your thoughts there. Oh, you mean, I know what you mean. You mean like investors? Is that what you mean? I mean, it is down a bit. I do like this recent strength in price action. I think that's really. I think we needed it. Like we didn't have a lot of room to go sideways longer or go down, right? Because that crossover is kind of a killer, in my opinion. Yes. You know, there was a couple of days though where I noticed, like when the stock exchange opened, Bitcoin rallied, but recently they have been kicking it in the butt on market open, kicking it in the butt. That's nice. Looks like equities are not losing too much ground. What are we, 10 minutes into the open? They're coming down a little bit, you know. But one pattern I've noticed is that we start to we see some red in the beginning of the day, and then we've seen the market rally. What's that? This is around 1 o'clock. Market rally around noon. So we'll see what happens. I would like to see a little more strength though in the market. It's been a little weak for me, but we do have a Fed meeting coming up on I think it's June 10th, and that'll be a big tell. Like how dovish or hawkish they are. I have a feeling that they're going to come in a little dovish because we did see that FDIC report where a lot of banks are having, kind of struggling with loans that they basically need to write down because of the multifamily market. Yeah, get spot back up. Yeah. All right, let's look at Inno. Sorry, Angus, I got distracted. I need to get better at that. All right, Inno. Ooh, they're up a lot. They got a really good DEX score. Look at that. They got 98. Contract is renounced. Love to see that. How old is this project? Probably pretty young, right? Yep, the 15th of May. So, pretty sideways action. Let's see what they do. 10 million supply. Yeah, that's fine. 800,000 market cap. All right. AI development toolkit for everybody. Create your own business easily. But what does that mean? Revenue share, that looks nice. Seamless website deployment. Okay. Man, website deployment. It's just such a weak product. It's so easy to develop a website these days. Like just go use GoDaddy or something. Or there's like 100 other crypto projects that you can deploy a website on. Like ArcBlock, one of my favorites. Elevate your productivity. Code generation. Yeah, there's a bunch of those too. Mastering simplified design. Unlock the art of simplicity with effortless landing page creation. Yes. Guarantee code excellence. What does that even mean? And I'm not trying to shit on this project, but like, I just don't see the value in it. Like, what's the big business case on it? What are they doing? It's a very crowded space. So my question is like, what are they doing different than other other blockchain projects that sets them apart enough that people would use this product. I just don't see it. If you guys got any questions on like projects you want me to take a look at, throw them in the chat. I will do a quick look at them. So let's look at the white paper though, just for educational purposes. Programming skills. Yeah, I just don't think it's that different. And that's not saying it couldn't do well. I just think if you're not like super differentiated, then your levers on growing the business are marketing and like network. Because how else are you going to get to people to use the product when you're, instead of using this, someone can just go like, to ArtBlock, or the techier guys can go to I'm trying to think of that name of the other project. But yeah, why don't you just go to another AI code development? Like, I think one of the interesting projects I saw, and I can't remember who it was. I wish I had. It's probably on my list, but they had some sort of coding for blockchain specifically. I think that could be more interesting because then you're at least specialized, and I'm sure you could code with like any of the other LLMs, in blockchain. But if one's super specific, you could make a product that does a better job for blockchain developers. And in that case, then I think, you can make at least a small business out of it. I think a lot of these bigger projects, though, eventually will just build in LLMs into their own dev tools. I think that's where we're headed, like long term. It's just what my intuition tells me. Because why not? Like if you're an AVAX, if you're like a layer 0, and you've got a community of developers developing for your platform, like why not make it easier for them to code, right? You're already putting out documentation for them to help them understand, how to develop on their platform. So to me, like any good like open source project will have a lot of documentation to help developers develop on their platform, right? Because like their goal is to bring in developers to develop apps, develop blockchains on their on their chain, right? So the motivation is like, or the goal is to make it as easy as possible. If you're like an AVAX, easy as possible to develop on your chain. And how do you make that easier? Like how do you utilize technology to make that easier? The next step to me is throw in an LLM that's specific to your chain inside of your development tools. So good. So Angus, you said they're getting a lot of good rep on CT. What's CT? Am I totally spacing on something obvious? Hey guys, how's my connection? I'm showing that my Wi-Fi is weak. So let me know if you're having issues with sound or video. Yeah. That's a thing, like there's you can kind of tell when people are doing a lot of marketing but don't have a lot of substance behind their product. And that's why like it's hard. It's like why two things happen. Like that's why like it's hard for me to like get excited about projects, especially when I start, I found good ones that I like. And also why like a lot of the projects I'm interested in are similar to like, a Crypto John, for example, because like he's got some pretty good intuition, and looking at the fundamentals of those projects, they're unique, they solve a problem, and I think they'll do well. Crypto Twitter, thanks, man. I believe if they were paid shills, though. Yeah. I mean, it could be, right? Totally could be. I definitely know that happens. And, one of the other things that happens too, which I don't think, gets enough, I don't think it gets enough like conversation on Twitter or like in the crypto space, is like, I firmly believe that some some projects purely just are trying to raise money and then go and steal it and scam it from people. But I also think there are a lot of projects where people start them up with the intention of starting up something meaningful, but either they're not like experienced enough in business to understand that like how to run a business, or maybe their business idea is just terrible. They haven't started enough businesses to understand that, and then the project just tanks because it sucks when their intentions were good to begin with. So I do think that happens too, and you don't really know. So you kind of have to look at each project with with a magnifying glass and be skeptical of it. I did want to look at the chart for BNB, for Binance's coin, because this thing is insane. This thing is just pumping, and it tells a really good story about like where the global economy is headed, in my opinion. Like, again, could be wrong, but this one I don't think I am. I think it's pretty obvious. Like, China's going to be the next superpower, right? They've got all the economic power, and by economic power I mean they have they have technology, they have good education, and they've got a lot of people, right? So how do you expand an economy? Consumers. U.S. is 70% consumers, and they have millions and millions of people. So look. I'm actually disappointed that I didn't see this earlier. Like, I had this thesis that China's going to do really well, right? And they're going to do really well into the next recession we have. And look at what BNB's done this cycle. I think BNB is going to go much higher. We're looking at the weekly. So if China is the next economic power, which I think is pretty obvious they are, we could actually. So one of the rules in RSIs, right? Like, look at this RSI down here. One of the rules is our RSI is bullish and bearish divergence, and one of the things we see is bearish divergence going into recessions. We could look at it on SPY, right? We can look at it on S&P, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see bullish divergence here on BNB, and it's looking very strong. Just crossed over on the weekly RSI, and it's had some incredible price action strength. So I really kicking myself for not seeing this earlier, last year, getting into it earlier. But honestly, it took off faster than I would have expected it to. But I think the same thing goes for the Chinese stock market too. I think it's going to do really well into the recession, but we'll see. Any reason why? I think I think that BNB is pumping because I think it's the market. I think it's the Asian market, right? I think I don't know any news why it'd be pumping, but I do think it's because it's of the Asian market. I think a lot of Chinese own BNB or buy BNB. And there's been some stimulus going on in China, so I think that's why. I mean, Hugo, if they watch my video, it's not FUD. I go through the accusations and I kind of lay out the case. So is what it is. I look at the facts, man. And I'm not going to. Yeah, I know Chinese are not allowed to, but we know that they get around it. But that is an interesting hypothesis, right? Like, maybe I'll look into that later point. See if we can look at flows. Let's look for BNB news though. Because I am curious. Yeah. And I do think, if crypto sticks around through this next recession, which I think it will, I do think Binance is going to be more. I think it's going to do better than, like a Coinbase, because they have more people, right? They have a bigger audience. What was I looking for? Yeah. Oh, let's look at Missouri. Missouri usually has good news too. I don't see Father's Day. Did that? Did the Father's Day gift cards send it through the roof? I don't think it's news, man. I just think we're hitting the next. We're headed into the next bull cycle, right? I think like you see a lot of altcoins starting to do really well, like Caspa, for example. And I actually sold a little bit of my Caspa just because it's not a strong play for me. I think it's already got a pretty high market cap. I think you can get better returns elsewhere, like OGPU, for example. So you can see bearish divergence here developing on Caspa. It tells me that Caspa is not going to do very well in the next crash. I do think it's a great product, and I do think it's got more room to run. If you look at the weekly RSI here, like I'd expect it to touch this one more time. It could touch multiple more times, but at least one more time. It'll touch this trend line, or at least get close to it. And then our RSI, like I definitely sold too early, but I'm going to rotate it into other things. The weekly stochastic RSI looks really, really strong. It's like super strong. I think we're going to see, actually, let's look at the Fibbies, see where this thing could run to. So I think we could easily get it up here to 22 cents. But like Caspa is also one of those things that, we could see it in a really peak bull case. I think we could see it up to the 4.2 line here, up to 0.48. But if you look at price action here, I'm not confident it will. So I had a really good run in price action from March to November here, and you saw, make higher highs, but the RSI wasn't as strong, and because of that, like I don't think it's going to push much further than like 1.4, but it totally could. Totally could. I could be completely wrong, but it's already high market cap, right? It's got 4 billion. I wish I could do let's do some quick math on it. Caspa, just to kind of see like how high it could go. So we're at what, a $4 billion valuation right now? Hold on, I gotta stop sharing my screen for just a second. I have my personal finances up, so I want to get this entire screen. Yeah, the entire screen. Thank you. I mean, Caspa at $1 is possible. I'm just going off of what the chart's telling me. Like I said, I could be wrong. So what's the supply of Caspa? We're going to do some quick maths here to see what that would mean for market cap. Like Caspa I do think Caspa is like potentially a $100 billion project. And I would not, like, I just didn't get into Caspa early enough for me to, get excited about it and see like massive returns, right? So is what it is for me. Let's see, Caspa it's 23 billion supply. Price right now is 0.1899. That's market cap right now. So let's do currently. Let's do peak bull case. Well, let's just do $1. Well, that's pretty easy, isn't it? I mean, that's a $23 billion market cap, right? So it could easily do that. It's going to have to get listed on a tier 1 exchange, which it probably will here shortly. I think it's like the biggest project to not be listed on tier 1 exchange. But also they don't have a marketing team really working on it, right? So all right, let's look at it, see what the price would have to be for it to be Ethereum. Because that's what it's competing against, right? 400 billion. Why did I do that? It's the wrong cell. There we go. There we go. That's $16. I definitely think I could do that. Probably my play on Gaspa now is after we see the recession, markets crash, I'll probably get back into Gaspa. Yeah, that was my thoughts on Gaspa. I'm probably downplaying it a bit, but it's more of a blue chip, and I like blue chips. I like being in blue chips through bear markets, especially towards the bottom of the markets, right? If you watch the crypto crew guys or anyone who does the 4 phases of the Bitcoin bull cycle, it's in phase 1, right? Those are the ones. That's kind of when to get into blue chips. In my opinion, that's when I like getting into blue chips. I also want to share something interesting. Yeah, so Caspa has a great following, right? They've got a really good community. I think that's what the OGPU is building. One of the reasons I'm bullish on OGPU. But you need marketing department to get you on centralized exchanges. You don't need it, but it helps to have somebody dedicated to that because it's a lot of work, and you have to make the case to get listed sometimes. So they'll get to the point where like it'll just be a no-brainer and they'll get listed. But and I'm sure that'll happen sooner rather than later. But there's a reason they're not listed yet, and they're like a top 50. What are they? Caspa's top 30 in market cap. And if they had a marketing department or somebody dedicated to doing the marketing and side of things, like they'd already be listed. So that's why marketing is important. It's more than just showing, reaching out to KOLs and getting advertising. All right, I'm going to show you guys one of my big theses here. And I got to be honest, this isn't entirely my own thesis, but I do agree with it. So we're looking at the S&P 500, and this is why I think there's going to be like a big market crash. I did I learned about trading, TA. RSI is really important. And we've seen a negative, we've seen a long-term bearish divergence here of the S&P, starting just before COVID here in like 2018. And bearish divergences are met with crashes. And if you look at, let's look at the monthly. That's the one. So it's even more prevalent in the monthly candles. And basically what we're looking for here is the RSI decreasing as higher prices are coming, higher actual prices of the underlying asset are coming to the stock. So this is an ETF, right? It's the SPY. Or we're seeing is like RSI is lower, which means the strength of the moves are smaller, yet the price is reaching all-time highs. And eventually this always leads to a crash. So that's why I think there's going to be a recession at some point. I don't know when, but the the fundamentals will tell us. The bond yields will tell us. The yield inversion will tell us. And the reason I think we still have time is because, paying for a sex listing. So Alex is saying marketing mean paying for a sex listing. Yeah, that's one thing, paying for it, but also, applying for it, reaching out to the centralized exchange acts very much like a business. So you've got to, make your case for it. I should look into this someday, but there are all sorts of like things that centralized exchanges look into to make sure you're a legit project. I'm sure they interview the team, at least talk to team members. They probably look at the project in depth, almost like a VC would, not as in depth, but make sure it's a legit project. Angus, how difficult would it be for OPSEC and OGPU to get listed on bigger exchanges? So, they're going to have to be bigger. What's up, CD? Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, man. They're going to have to be bigger. You have to. So Binance does have they are starting a medium to small chain listing program, and they could get listed on that. I think Binance is just trying to create a bigger, create a bigger marketplace for themselves and earn some more fees off trading, or at least bring in more investors. So they're basically hosting more money than they have right now. But the question was, how hard is it to get listed? Well, unlike general Binance, I don't think they're going to list it at like a $30 million market cap. OPSEC's got a better case. What's OPSEC sitting at? I think they're at 50 million. But it's just not enough trading volume, to be honest. Like, usually Coinbase is going to, especially this point in the bull run, I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Now, some of the smaller exchanges would be interested, like maybe a KuCoin or somebody at this market cap. They're sitting at 59. But I think both platforms could get, or both chains could get hosted in this bull run. Tin Lu, how would that affect crypto? So crypto is a risk asset, just like a stock and equity. So following the markets is important because they're going to react similarly to crypto is going to react similarly to the regular stock market. Like when the stock market crashes, crypto is going to crash. It's just the way it's been, the way it's going to be. We could do an overlay. Let's do an overlay. I've done this before, but just to show you, when you can see this is the monthly chart, and BTC here is in purple. I don't know if you can see that. Let me change the color of it. We'll go orange for Bitcoin. So when the stock market rises, Bitcoin rises. Stock market goes down, shows some weakness, crypto goes down. And then again, there's a little dip here during coronavirus. And then stock market increased, and so did crypto. Now, it's not perfectly correlated, right? You saw the stock market continue to increase, and we had a little bounce here in crypto. And then once again, you see stock market go up, Bitcoin goes up. So it's pretty closely correlated. Again, it's not perfect, but that's why it's important. And I expect the stock market to top slightly before crypto does, but hey, it could go the other way. We saw it go the other way here in 2021. but that's not what I'm expecting. So we'll see what happens. That's why I'm going to DCA out of my positions, because I don't know exactly what timing is going to be. I'm not pretending to know. Timing is the toughest thing to do in markets. So I will first DCA out my initial investments, and then I'll hold the rest for the ride. I'm curious what Bitcoin dominance is doing. I haven't looked at that for a while. So I look at this stuff every morning, and I thought, why not look at it with everybody else? Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, we're flat. Looks like we're topping out here. This kind of looks like we're rolling over. On the monthly, we've been riding this high of overbought area on the stochastic RSI. We do have some bullish divergence here on the RSI, but I still expect this to come down. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, the weekly looks like we're going to oversold, but look what we see here. Look what we see here. A little bit of bullish divergence on the RSI. While BTCD dominance has been increasing. So we're looking forward to this. Looking for some strong declines. Anyway, guys, got any other questions? I think that's all I wanted to go over here today. Oh, we got new economic data. Let's look at the economic data real quick. All right, PMI, global composite PMI, that beat targets by 0.1. So one thing to understand about these PMIs, like when you're seeing these numbers come in at 50s or 40s, so 50 is actually like zero growth and zero decline. Anything over 50 is a basically increase in that metric. Anything below 50 is actually a decline in that metric. So non-manufacturing employment, it declined, it missed. Non-manufacturing PMI, which is just prices, they increased, showing continued inflation. And non-manufacturing prices, what's the difference between those? Oh, prices, sorry. PMI is inflation, and then prices, my bad. That missed targets. So mixed data on the ISM non-manufacturing. Let's see if that affected markets at all. Yeah, it looks like it took a little bit of steam out of the rally today. IWM doesn't like it. Yeah, look at that. When that came out at 8, the non-manufacturing PMIs. Market did not like that. Yeah, Qs took a hit, but did get bought up pretty quick, although you have a red candle afterwards. This is on the 5-minute. IWM really didn't like it. But what did Bitcoin do? Let's go to Bitcoin 5. Ooh, Bitcoin does not like that at all. We're holding above 70 though, which is good. I think that is good. Let's see where resistance is. Where is resistance? Let's go to the 1 hour, make a resistance line here. I don't know if this is enough. I don't see any good lines here. I might have to go to the daily. Yeah, I think at this point we're basically at 70,000. So there's a soft line here. Looks like we have a little bit of resistance there. Sorry, this is support if we're above it. So if we start to get below 70, I'd be a little 60, 69, 9, 72. Start to get a little concerned because, like I said, we really want to see this Bitcoin rally continue. Because we don't want to cross over on this weekly RSI. That's my biggest concern to keep this rally going right now. If we do see a crossover, might just we could just be putting out the delaying the final piece of this rally, or it could be a double top. So I really would like to see us confirm above that 70 line, especially on the daily. I guess Powell will hold the rate steady again. Yeah. I think Powell is gonna. I think there's no question Powell's gonna keep the rates where they are in this meeting. But there's a July meeting too. Um, what I think we have to look for is what is he going to do with quantitative tightening. So because we're still tightening, I think it's 25 billion a week, if I'm correct. I think it was 65. Was it 60? And then he decreased it from 60 to 25, if I remember correctly. So it would be easing if he totally stops QT. That would be easing. I'm interested to see what his response is to the FDIC report that banks are have $500 billion of bad loans right now across multiple banks. So the question is how he positions himself. If he positions himself as dovish and eases on QT, which I think he might do, that would be bullish for the market. And then also how he signals future rate cuts, because he uses very specific, very what's the term for it? But he uses language that basically the markets understand to be, hawkish, which means increase rates or keep rates the same at this point, or if he's looking towards future rate cuts sooner rather than later. I think if over the next 2 weeks before the Powell meeting, I guess we're almost a week away. Yeah, we're 6 days away. Be next Wednesday probably. Let's look at the calendar. Is it the 12th? I thought it was always on Wednesdays. But he can use language that will tell the markets that he's looking at cutting. And basically, it's no secret, right? He's looking at he'll say something like weeks. He'll kind of forecast rate cuts. He won't say it outright, but he'll kind of give subtle terms. That's what usually subtle terms. That's what the ECB did, and that's what they've done recently. Is basically the market is expecting rate cuts from the European banks. Let's see, interest rate decision on Wednesday. Yep, at that's noon. Was it? That's noon Mountain Time, which is 2:00 Eastern Time. So I think he'll hold it steady. The question is, if he's going to completely stop QT, which I think he will. I would put it at a 60% chance that he's going to stop QT completely, just because you're starting to see additional weakness in the manufacturing market, right? PMIs are looking bad. And then we also have, beginning of next week, we also have CPI data for May. So the Fed prefers to use the core PCE. So they're not going to. This data doesn't have huge weight, but they definitely look at it. And this is inflation, right? So that's one of their two mandates. So if you guys got any other questions, throw them in the chat. I'll happy to look at any projects right now. Do a soft look at any projects, any cryptos. We'll give you a second. We'll look for Binance. We'll look at Binance news real quick. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see any news. A dog. Yeah, I don't see it. This low mid cap tokens are old, it's old news. It was like a couple of weeks ago, I thought. So I don't see anything. Rio, it's an RWA. I have a lot of thoughts about RWAs, and they've changed over the last like month. I like RWAs, but you mean Relio? I looked at Relio. I think it's a good narrative. I think it's a hot narrative. When it comes to practical use of, yeah, it's doing really well. Really like that price action. Look at that price action recently. I mean, you're starting to see the precursors of alt season on coins like, on certain coins like this, in Caspa, some of the other like Binance, BNB. You're starting to see altcoins pick up, which is usually like more than they did here during all this sideways action. So I think that's good news. I really like the token supply of this one, 55 million. But when it comes to when it comes to RWAs, I'm like practically right now, I'm not really bullish on like the RWAs that take assets like, for example, like physical objects, right? Because like what benefit does that, first of all, how do you actually tie it like to a physical object? Like I saw somebody marketing an RWA for sneakers. Like, I get it. I get it. Sneakers are pretty hot. Like people love their sneakers. I have some friends that love their shoes. I follow some influencers that love their sneakers, and some guys who own sneakers that they'll never wear. But how do you actually tie that to a sneaker? And on top of that, what benefit does it have? Is it having an NFT assigned to a sneaker? If it's like a cool factor for marketing, that's the only case you can make. When you tie RWAs to like a financial asset, like RWAs for treasuries, I think that's more of a practical use case because then then you can trade it. It's a more liquid market, and it just makes more sense to me. Yeah, a little too early. I don't. If it was, I think the use case for those type of physical RWAs is maybe it makes more sense to me if like the company producing the product assigns it an RWA and then or like an NFT on an RWA, and then that's tied to the actual product, kind of like a serial number. I think that makes more sense. But like a general chain that just tries to, because also like if you're just a blockchain project and you want to make an NFT for sneakers, like it's not unique at that point if you're just taking sneakers off the marketplace and assigning a NFT to it. But if you're like Nike and you assign an NFT to it and then you sell it, the NFT comes as a package with the sneaker. It's like a serial number then. But there would be like, you would want to sell the NFT with the sneaker. So they would have to be tied together. And that's where you get RWA, I think. An RWA marketplace for like a physical product. You could do this for a lot of things, right? Sneakers. I don't know why I just thought of like laundry machines, but washing machines. That obviously would not be a good use case. But, like collector's items, maybe special minted coins, like gold coins, those would be cool. I don't know if gold's the market to do it. Trading cards. I think Gary V's kind of done something similar with his V Friends project. Although I don't know, doesn't seem like he's actually tied it to the cards. They seem to be separate products. But home, card, title, yeah, that's in a home, card, and title. That's the case where you would, that would be cool because it's right now we go, that system does need to be refined, right? Because right now all the information is in courthouses. It's kind of difficult to pull up. It's kind of a pain to pull up. I think I don't know how much that stuff is online, but I know a lot of like land people And they go into, they have to go into the courthouse, look up the files, and search through. Like, I hear stories of them just looking through files to figure out like if people own the mineral rights of the land, who the previous owners were, and make sure that the property was properly assigned to each owner over time. So if you have that information on a blockchain, that'll make it a lot easier, and then easily, more easily verifiable by people buying. But anyway, let's look at Relio. Future of private equity is digital. Relio announces its plans to trade real security. Oh, this is interesting. Let's look at this. Relio, a technology ecosystem for institutional grade digital assets, announced today its plans to trade RST on T0 ATS. I don't know what that means. Okay, it's a trading system. Got it. Liquid mining fund. It's getting registered with the SEC. That's kind of they're doing it right, doing it above board. Access to private companies and assets. Institutional grade solutions for issuers looking to digitize their capital table through blockchain technology. I like that. I like that a lot. Trade on a regulated alternative trading system, T0, through its broker-dealer subsidiaries, democratizes access to private assets, providing simple, automated, efficient trading venue. Okay, it looks like they know what they're talking about. Good first step. Let's look at price action. Price action's good. We looked at that. Good supply. Looks like they have a good community. I kind of like this one so far. All right, let's look more into what let's look at their products. Districts, what does that mean? Now I'm curious, I'm looking at like what they're actually tokenizing. If they're tokenizing like financial assets, I think that's where we are in the market. But if they're tokenizing, kids' toys, I don't think it's going to be this cycle. Why is my browser so slow? What is going on? Do they have a product yet? I don't think they have a product yet. That told me nothing. Such a waste of time. So it's a $140 million market cap, or $114 million market cap. Shop. What are we shopping for? This website's taking forever to load. Oh, they have t-shirts? Okay, cool. Get yourself a hat. It's a cool looking hat though. But you're spending your time making t-shirts? Really? Is that a real world asset? All right, it's a layer one chain, Web3 ecosystem focused on the issuance of management of digitally native real world assets. You got all the keywords in there, man, but what are you doing? Let's explore the network. I'm assuming their layer one's out. So why is it 155 here? Is the price not right? 207. So there's a discrepancy in market cap between CoinGecko and Relio. It is what it is. All right, here we go. Governance built for its users. Relio network allowed participated voting network. Delegated validators. Okay. It's not really, is that governance though? Like, I want to know if you're centralized or have a DAO. That's the governance I'm worried about. What do they got? So they got super staking, fee burning. Looks like it might be deflationary. Supply cap 75 million. Pre-mine's 45 million. 45 million circulated. Dynex. I'll take a look at Dynex next, Jake. Ooh, quantum computing. That's interesting. I don't know a lot about quantum computing, other than it's a threat to modern blockchains. Not all of them, but LMX. Okay, here we go. Here's some real stuff. Relio Fund, eliminating barriers to invest in DeFi. The districts, the base layer for real world theme immersive experience. So are you an experience play? Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Low cost Bitcoin production. Man, why are these things so convoluted? Just tell me what you're doing. Maybe it's in the documentation. I don't like clicking on like 100 different things. All right, this is information about the blockchain and its structure, running a node. What are these guys actually, like what assets are they making real world? That's the annoying part. Let's see if there's information on their Twitter on what they're actually trying to tokenize. Like, I want to know what you're tokenizing. It's great to have like all the buzzwords in there, but if I don't know what you're actually tokenizing, I don't want to invest. Yes, the chart looks good. I get it. So they want to do real estate, private equity, and other real world assets. Like this is the thing, like with startups that gets me sometimes. It's like it is fantastic to have a big plan, but like you also have to have a specific plan. You have to start somewhere. I mean, that's my point. You have to start somewhere. Like when I created my distribution business, like we started with a very specific product targeting like a very specific user, and we didn't go for like selling every type of steel that we could. We went for a very specific type of steel. And then we kind of expanded once we understood the needs of the customers and like what they wanted. But that's also true for, a big future blue chip. So they're still looking at staking. Staking's great, but tell me what you're going to like tokenize first. I don't know. It's got great price action. I think it's a really good. So yeah, my take on it is it's a really, really good. Looks like a really good play because it has good price action and a really good niche. I would have to see some like actual good fundamentals to get really excited about it and put like a bigger investment in it. But yeah, does anyone know? All right, let's look at. That's enough. It's like too hard to find out what they're focused on at first, because that's can't build a business if you don't have a product, man. Now they could have one. They could not be good at communicating it. So, I mean, they might. Yeah, they might be the king of RWA in the future, but you need something, something to start. If they had a starting point, I'd be really excited with them. But like, what's the starting point? And they could have a great. I mean, you could look into it deeper, and if they have a great team with a lot of experience, have had successful projects in the past, I could also believe in them based on that. But I just sense a lack of direction, and that makes me nervous. Nervous for the long run. In the short term, they could do really well based off the hype. Thanks, Tin. I appreciate it. Hopefully that was helpful. I feel like we didn't find anything. I'm not writing them off. Just so you know, looks like a good project. But if I had to rank it between like 1 and 10, right now it's like a 5 to me until I figure out what their direction is, and I'd have to do a lot more digging to figure out what the direction is. So Dynex, how old are they? They've been around since November 2022. Cool. They've been around a while. Hold on, let's just check on. Yeah, I was just checking on OGPU. Yeah, they're doing fine. 103. Their price is 103. Good supply on the token here. They've got a community. Looks like they got decent community. AI play. What else? Decentralized science. DPIN. Oh. I like the DPIN space. I don't know how excited I am about DeSci though, but if you combine that with DPIN, I think that's a good play. Neuromorphic quantum computing. Proof of useful work. That sounds interesting. Haven't heard of that before. One question I have about quantum computing project is quantum computers are very expensive to make right now, and there are only a few. So do these guys have access to quantum computers? What's their what's kind of their angle? Are they not? They got GPUs being utilized, so they're not using actual quantum computers. Is that what I'm getting? Is both quantum computing neuromorphic computing? I don't know anything about neuromorphic computing. I have to look into it. Got a big team. Okay. Ethical committee. Sorry. I get a little nervous when people are like, have an ethical committee. Like, why do you need an ethical committee? I guess quantum computing is very powerful. So, I don't understand enough about quantum computing right now to know whether you can build a quantum computer off of just GPUs. I was under the impression quantum computers were very specialized pieces of equipment that right now are massive in size because they need a lot of cooling. And I was also under the impression that it was like very physics, like the way a quantum computer works, it's very like esoteric in the physics of it. Because it basically, instead of having ones and zeros, you have stored in either RAM or hard drive. They're not the state of the one or the zero isn't known until it's read. So it's kind of a play off of physics, quantum physics. So do they have an SDK? Do they have a product out? Quantum computing offers a new way out of the crunch of Moore's law. So they're saying it'll scale quicker. See, I don't understand the tech enough to know whether this is, how viable this product is if they're just running off of GPUs. So I would say this is a very interesting project. I do like projects that are brand new in tech, but without knowing more, I can't say whether this tech is going to gain traction in this bull cycle or not. So yeah, they say right here, unlike traditional computers, which use either a 0 or 1, quantum computers use quantum bits or qubits that can be both a 0 or 1 at the same time. This allows them to process a vast amount of information simultaneously, making them incredibly powerful for certain tasks. So they can do thousands or even millions of calculations at once. So if they're running off of GPUs, then that's not a quantum computer, to my point. So what's their, what do they do? If you're not going to build a network of quantum computers at this point. So yeah, let's look at the network, see if we can get any more additional information. So they're all doxed. Have some very well-known customers on a subscription model. That's good. Maybe they're pre-building this, and their goal is to take on add quantum computers to the network when they're more available, which we're probably looking at like a decade out, at least. If we look at how tech develops, the speed at which like physical tech develops. We'll look at their X because you said their X is good. So. And we got to look up this term because it keeps coming up. Neuromorphic. Where's my, I had Perplexity open. Neuromorphic quantum computing. I should put computing in there. It'll come up anyway. It combines principle of neuromorphic computing, which mimics architecture and functionality of the human brain with the capabilities of quantum computing. So my understanding of this on the Dynex blockchain is that they're using the neuromorphic quantum algorithm, but not quantum computers. But let's see. Let's look at their Twitter. Oh, we got an interview on the NASDAQ. Oh, here we go. It's a peer-to-peer open source cryptocurrency in the DePIN. So it's P2P. It's considered an altcoin. And it's using the combined power of GPU miners to provide supercomputing capabilities for everybody. Okay, so they're not using quantum computers, but they're using a unique algorithm to mimic quantum computers. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, I'd have to understand the tech more. I think it's super interesting. I don't know if it's an investment for this cycle. It's a good price action. Yeah, price action's fine. You got some excitement here in 2023, which is great, like during the bear cycle. But my concern would be it hasn't really shown a lot of strength in this bull cycle. So because it's not part of a narrative. Here in March, let's see. Let's zoom into March. Oh, it did get a little bit. There. I was wrong. So yeah, it did get a nice uplift from where were we at in January? About 50 million market cap up to 100 million. Very spiky though. It didn't hold those gains. So yeah, probably just not an investment for me in this cycle based on price action. But I do think the tech is really interesting. I would like to understand more about it. But I probably won't deep dive it because I don't think I'm investing in this cycle. Hope that's helpful there, Jake. It does seem like a legit project. I just don't think it's going to do – I just don't see it doing – I see other projects doing better this cycle. Like I would almost put my money into Caspa or BNB this cycle just based off price action alone. All right, let's look at Ribbon for Schumann Human. I totally misspelled that. Ribbon. Let's go. Ribbon Finance. I like doing this. I like doing these reviews. It's a lot less work than the reviews I do, which I'm coming out with a couple more. I got 2 in the docket for you guys. What do you guys think if I did like a quick review of something that I'm not going to invest in, but just to give you more information? I don't know. I've been debating that because I look at a lot of projects, but the ones I invest in are kind of few and far between, just on the number of projects I look at. All right, let's get the Ribbon. So it'll merge with Avio Exchange and the RBN token. Huh. It's not great news. Why are they merging? They get bought out. Are they merging with another exchange or another? Yeah, they're merging with an exchange. There's very few there's very few mergers that happen in blockchain, but Tron did one. Let's look at the docs. Let's look at the docs first. Earn sustainable yield through decentralized option vaults and lending. Oh, come on, load. Ribbon finances a suite of DeFi projects that help users access crypto structured projects by combining derivatives, lending, and proprietary on-chain exchanges. Okay, so they're creating their own exchange. Ribbon aims to be a one-stop solution to improve portfolio's risk-return profile. Shit, so this is a DeFi project. True DeFi project. Almost reminds me of like a Syntax. Or Syntax, sorry. Let's look at overall price action. Oh boy. Not a lot of volume, huh? What is volume? It's 1 million. So it looks like it did merge. Yeah. Wow, they did really well. Looks like I would look deeper into this because I'm not going to be able to do a full analysis of this. But just based on price action, it looks like they might have some good technology behind it. So they just launched this. Oh man, it didn't do. And I want to understand how they merged this. So it looks like they had a previous token that they launched in March. So why did you get this big spike here? Did they migrate over the equity from the other token? I want to understand that. Avo is a separate. Yeah, I need to understand the relationship between Ribbon and Avo. It looks like they combined. This website's like pretty much this very similar banner up there. Yeah, there's a lot going on here that makes me a little nervous with the new token. But Ribbon did well before Avo, so I wouldn't write them off completely. So yeah, it could be an interesting one. DeFi, the way I'd look at it from 30,000 foot view is DeFi was kind of how do I put this? DeFi was like the niche of the last cycle. So a lot of products were developed on DeFi, which means, like, to me, there's a lot of companies that exist in the DeFi space. And what you have is basically, that's not saying new products aren't needed in the marketplace over time, but those big companies will tend to introduce new products to fit the market needs because it's easier for a project with money and developers already in place to develop a new product that the marketplace needs. It's tougher for like a new company, a startup, to do that. And I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I have to understand more about what their angle is, what's different, that is, what need they're serving that currently isn't in the DeFi space, and how they're executing on that. So Ribbon is now Avo. Got it. So it seems like they just rebranded or started a new company, which also is kind of a red flag in crypto. So I'd dig deep into that to understand it and make sure it's legit. Aerodrome Finance. Yeah, I covered Aerodrome Finance. They've had a huge increase in their. So the downside of Aerodrome Finance is they've got a lot of inflation, but the upside is they're continuing to increase their total lock value and also number of fees. I think they have great tech. They've been getting hit by the inflation. Like, the prices have been getting hit by inflation while the market's been moving sideways. but I expect Aerodrome Finance to do well during the bull cycle. I'm pretty bullish on it, but I do think I'm not as bullish on it as I am like an ABT. Dennis, so you're asking, what do you think about the OpenGPU DevNet Chain Explorer? So you're talking about the fact that it looks the same as Metal. That's one of the accusations on Twitter. I don't have a problem with it. I did develop websites for a little bit, and I'm definitely not a dev, but like I'm not a color scheme guy. So I personally would just take my color schemes from different websites I made to make it easy. And they're using some open source code. So it's like that accusation is not it's like a non-deciding factor for me. Jake, you got a small bag of, what do you have a small bag of? Sorry, I forget of Dynex. Cool. So that's my take on that OpenGPU FUD. Still invested in it. I did tell everyone that I did take out 10% of my cost basis because it went up like 5x. So I'm still heavily invested in OGPU. So let's see. What else? Oh, Team Mania. Sorry, I missed your comment there, John. Let's look at Team Mania. Is this like is this a WWE project? Team Mania. Is this a meme coin? Looks like a meme coin. I'm a utility guy, man. I'm not really a meme coin guy. I saw like one of Crypto John's podcast shows like weeks and weeks ago, months ago on Turbo. I didn't get into Turbo, but wish I did. But I'm not a meme coin guy, so is what it is. Time to make America great. Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen people pumping this. It's definitely entertaining, but I can't predict meme coin flows. It's not my thing. So sorry, I can't help you there. All right, guys, I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Thanks for watching. You guys rock. I'll get some more project videos out later this week, and yeah, have a good week. Team A is a pump and dump. Yeah, looks like it. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate you tuning in. Oh man, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Have a great week, and I hope you guys are making some profits. All right, take it easy.